What is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Fenixx. This is going to be your astrology forecast for Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. We are already at the end of May, guys. We are at the end of May. Let's hop right into this. All right. Just taking a look at this for at a glance. Yesterday, the energies weren't nearly as intense. I would even really say that the energies today are intense, intensifying, maybe getting a bit stronger. Yesterday was a pretty chill day. Today, things are going to start to kind of heat up a little bit, right? So we still have the Sun in Gemini. Now, remember, I mentioned this actually a few back. Actually, I think before the Sun even went here. That the Sun in Gemini, we're going to just get this pure Gemini energy for about 3 weeks. We're not going to see anything come into Gemini until Mercury reaches there when the Sun's around 20 to 21 degrees of Gemini. By that time, the Moon will be all the way into Pisces, actually conjuncting over to Neptune. So we're getting this pure Gemini energy right now, which is which is wanting all of us to kind of tap into a bit of our curiosities, but also with all this Taurus energy in the background here, it's wanting us to still expand and tap into the curiosity of things that something that's actually sustainable, something that we can actually build, not necessarily something that's like a quick fix per se, like with the Scorpio energy, with the South Node in there. South Node and Scorpio is definitely quick fix energy to try and feel good, trying to satiate quick desires, thinking that that's going to be a thing that really makes us feel good right now. So that Sun in Gemini, there might be a bit of a pull to want to go to those places, right? But with all this Taurus energy still in the background, it's asking us to get more curious about the simple things in life, the things that we can build, the day-to-day stuff. Just putting down one stone in front of another. So like you're making like a path to like say like a house or in a garden or something like that, putting down one stone at a time, or and Sun Gemini is probably curious about kind of what's underneath those stones too, because this is in the 12th house comparatively to that energy. So it might be looking under the stones to see if like there's like, bugs, grubs, all that sort of stuff, maybe gems. You never really know. So that's really what we have going on as far as the Gemini energy goes. It is coming off of the square to Saturn, of course. It's definitely loosening up because by the time as the day continues to go on, the Sun will enter into that third decan and will hit 10 degrees. So that energy is kind of loosening up. So not really a lot going on as far as those particular aspects. Now we do have the Moon over here in Libra, which is not in a bad spot right now. Yeah, it made the King Kunks over to Uranus overnight, so that might be pretty interesting. Definitely, whenever aspects happen at nighttime, you definitely want to pay attention to your dreams because they could be saying something. For example, in my dream last night, I think I was posting another video to my channel, and for some reason it was in Spanish. I don't know why, but I posted I put the title in Spanish for some reason, and that video ended up getting like 90 likes or something like that. It was very weird. This was like right before I woke up, so I don't know if I need to put a video in Spanish on my channel, or something like that. But just you want to just pay attention to like the small little details. Mind you, whenever the moon makes an aspect of something, it only lasts for a few hours, so it's like this like quick little like blip, but at the same time, you still want to kind of pay attention to these markets because whenever the moon, makes an aspect of something, it kind of lights something up. Now, Moon in Libra is still looking for some sort of emotional balance, looking for some sort of connection, maybe even looking for justice. I mean, that's the card I drew yesterday. It was in reverse. So maybe maybe this Moon in Libra will be looking for that as well. Of course, it's going to square over to Venus as well. So, I have it set to day here. Let me reset this to hours because it like shot forward. So bam, the moon will come to 25 degrees and it will square over to Venus, right? Now this is an energy that's going to be kind of interesting because Venus is trying to feel good right now. It's trying to feel better, especially since it has been out of balance for such a long time. It's trying to really feel better. It's trying to connect emotionally. It's trying to bring some type of healing as well in that area. And then when you have the moon in Libra that makes this square over to it, it's not necessarily, it's actually not really a bad aspect because there's a bit of a mutual reception here. The moon would rather be where Venus is, and Venus would rather be where the moon is. So there's some sort of mutual reception here. This is kind of, whenever I see aspects like this, the way I would describe like a mutual reception is as if the moon is house sitting for Venus and Venus is house sitting for the moon. And the good thing is that because they know about the other house so well, and even though there might be written instructions on how to take care of the house and what to do, they can simply just call each other up, and then they can walk each other through that, walk each other through how to really take care of that particular energy. So that's what's going to be happening today. It's a 25-degree square, so it's going to take on a very spiritual kind of quality. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 is the number of Pisces and Neptune, so it's going to take on a very spiritual kind of quality as well. The nice thing about this is that Venus is coming into a trine with Neptune as well. So there's a harmonious energy as far as all that goes. Really, what I'm seeing here, guys, is that we really can create the life that we really want. We really can. Now, it will take some hard work. It will take some effort. We also have to remind ourselves that Pluto is going to be moving back into Capricorn here soon. So we're not really done with that story either, as far as dealing with the Capricornian energy, right? So as it's going to move back into that space. And like I said, we are coming to the point where Venus and Pluto will be head to head, and it's going to be a bit of like that boss battle, right? As far as like, are we really ready to express what is in our heart and to value what is in our heart and to really bring that out and show the world? Are we really ready to do that? Because they're going to oppose while Pluto still is in Aquarius, right? It's going to be moving back into Capricorn, but it's going to oppose while it's still into Aquarius. So we're building up to this energy. The pot's simmering right now. This is actually probably one of the most harmonious squares that we will see, as far as like an aspect to Venus and the moon. Like I said, it's going to take on a bit of a spiritual quality. There's some mutual reception here because they are in each other's houses. They'll be able to essentially walk each other through that kind of energy. The challenge here will probably come where you may be feeling like you need to create that everything needs to be balanced and everything needs to be, I'm not going to say perfect, but there may be some, I'm going to say, some impatience here when it comes to wanting everything to be the way that we want it to. I'm getting the image in my head of a boiling pot and watching the pot and just hoping that it boils fast, right? Or maybe or maybe actually, maybe it's kind of like, oh, here's the other one. Here's the other one. This is the image I'm getting in my head because it's actually kind of perfect because it actually makes sense. Something that I experience. It's like you're cooking food. Say you're cooking like eggs, right? And you notice that the eggs are kind of running to one side because the pot itself, like the skillet itself, is kind of has a bit of a gangster lean on it. And that can happen over time. Maybe like the handle might be a little bit loose or something might happen, and it might not sit fully evenly on the eye on the stove. So it kind of leans back a little bit, and then the flame might hit one part of the skillet a little bit more than it does another one. So you either have to physically hold it up and make sure that everything is even, or you buy a whole new pot. It's really up to you. I don't think there's necessarily a need to buy a whole new something because I think this is also learning to appreciate what we already have and really ask ourselves, do we need to really buy a whole new thing? So that's the one thing with this whole square between the moon and Venus, especially when it comes to relationships. Is there really a need to buy a whole new relationship right now? Or is this just wanting us to come to some sort of deeper understanding? Because, like, remember, this moon square over to Venus is going to be very short, too. So there may be some misunderstandings when it comes to that kind of energy and wanting to find some sort of balance within relationships, but with that square it can make it a little bit stressed. But at the same time, this will be a great opportunity for you to literally put yourself in the other person's shoes. put yourself in another person's shoes and just kind of envision that, and that'll make things a lot smoother for the day. Now, like I said, you got that square, and Venus will be trining over to Neptune. The moon is going to be quincunxing over to Neptune. So that's where kind of the weird thing is that Venus in Cancer is wanting us to find some sort of balance emotionally. The moon is doing that as well. It's just a little bit reversed, right? It's trying to come at it almost from like a little bit more like a logical standpoint, where Venus and Cancer is coming at it for a more emotional standpoint. And interesting enough, the trine over to Neptune, that's gonna be the energy that's sort of highlighted a little bit more. The quincunx is going to be like us trying to, I guess, see the other person's perspective or see another perspective, kind of view our situation from another perspective. And because it is that quincunx, it's going to be a little bit awkward. And us wondering was like, can it really happen though? Can it really work out that way? It absolutely can, and it will, and it will. If you allow it to, if you allow it to. Now, as you continue to move this forward, the moon will come into Scorpio by the end of the day and will be coming really close to conjuncting the south node. In fact, it will conjunct the south node pretty much late at night, around midnight, it'll conjunct it. And of course, you see that at the moment that it does that, we have Jupiter pretty much right on top of the North Node within 13 minutes. So we're going to be coming into that conjunction point exact, which is going to be a very powerful aha kind of moment. Mercury at 15 degrees, 50 minutes will technically be out of shadow at this point. It'll be fully out of shadow, of course, when it hits 16 degrees, which you will wake up tomorrow. You will wake up tomorrow to a Mercury that's out of shadow and moving forward and moving fast and heading towards Uranus and having the aha moment. Now, Jupiter conjuncting the North Node is an aha moment, but when Mercury reaches over to Uranus in a few days' time, it's going to be like another aha moment. Think of Jupiter with the North Node. Think of it as I'm trying to think of think of it as actually getting the superpower. Say you're going to like download like a new superpower, if you will, or you've unlocked like a new move, if you will. And then Mercury going over to Uranus is really like fine tuning, if you will, that move. Or actually, Jupiter conjuncted the North Node is learning that you can even learn that move in the first place. The kind of thing I'm getting in my head is like, I want to use Pokemon because I'm a huge Pokemon nerd, right? Say you have like a Charmander, right? That's training. You have a trainer that have a Charmander, right? I'm gonna use Charmander because a lot of people know about Charmander. And the trainer along this journey eventually comes across like a Charmeleon or a Charizard, right? And they witness this Charmeleon or this Charizard using moves that the Charmander can use. It's in the DNA, it's in the makeup of this Charmander to be able to use that, but it can't quite use it. Jupiter conjuncted the North Node is sort of like the vision, is sort of us witnessing that we can actually do that thing that we want. And when Mercury conjuncts Uranus, it's going to be actually us learning how to use that move. So say Charmander wants to learn Flamethrower, but it only knows how to use Ember, but it witnesses Charmeleon using Flamethrower. That's going to be the moment that happens today and tomorrow, is that we're going to witness and see, oh, I can actually do that thing. I can learn that thing, and I can actually build that. By the time that Mercury hits Uranus, you would have learned a new move. And you're going to take that to the next stage and to that boss battle. So, but of course, with the moon over the south node, we could definitely get caught up in wondering, this is honestly self-worth issues. Honestly, this is self-worth issues with that moon conjuncting over to the south node. It also could be like, whether or not we get caught up in old wants, old desires that no longer fulfill us. This is something that's wanting us to build forward. This is going to be something where there can be a propensity to want to almost destroy everything, because Scorpios can be a bit of a destructive energy sometimes. So don't go to the place where you feel like you have to destroy things. That's not what this is about. This is about building up. This is not about destruction. So that's pretty much as far as like the astrology goes, I think that today could be a very positive day. There is going to be some pressures with squares. And as like I said, the moon comes in to Scorpio. It will square over to Pluto as well. So that's another aspect here, is that, you know, interesting enough, Pluto being in Aquarius, well, the moon is actually in Scorpio, so it's in the house that Pluto rules over. So there may be a sort of propensity to want to kind of destroy things and want to break things down. If you're wanting to break things down, I think we should break things down just to try to understand and maybe come to a different kind of perception. But as far as breaking things down and just saying that you have to blow up everything right now to start over, I don't really see this as a time to need to like blow things up and start over. This is a time to like build on what you already have. There may be some challenges. Maybe as you're trying to put those rocks down in your garden, you may come across some weeds, you may come across some twigs, you may even come across a giant bug, maybe even a snake that you have to remove. There's no need to just blow up everything, right? You know, you just got to keep moving forward, stay focused, and smile often. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get the card for today. I actually got this seemingly under 20 minutes, which was my goal, and I gotta leave soon, so I gotta head to the gym. So overall, I believe that today can be a very positive day because it's going to, like I said, we're going to sort of like get this vision. It's like, oh, I can do that thing. Oh, I can have that tool. Oh, I can have that superpower. You absolutely can. If you can envision it, you can imagine it, it is possible. It is absolutely possible. So, I have the King of Wands. The King of Wands. The King of Wands, absolutely. This is definitely giving us the vision. This is actually the King of Wands here is in the background you can see lions, you can see lizards, which represents transformation. You can see all this beautiful stuff. He's looking out. And his coat has a lot of lizards on it, and there's a lizard at the bottom there too. So there's definitely a transformative quality to today. Also a regenerative quality, because with the lizard, like you can cut a leg off, you can cut a tail off, and it can regenerate. So maybe that can explain a bit of like the squaring energy and some of the stuff dealing with Pluto, is that this is not necessarily there's not necessarily a need to destroy things, but maybe to regenerate things. I'm going to draw another card. We have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, hold the line, hold your spot, hold your space. Maybe there are people that might not necessarily understand and might try and take from your space, but really I see this as you potentially doing this to yourself. I don't necessarily see this as anyone doing this to you. There may be, but this is really more so just you holding your zone, holding your space, so you can actually create the things that you want. The other part about this too, I'm getting, because there's a lot of Taurus energy still, and I've been using this garden reference, is that sometimes when you're wanting to plant something and you're trying to create the space, that's the other thing about Pluto too, is that it's a space holder in many ways. So because it does represent zero, right? And it's a placeholder, and whatever you put in there, you can grow and it can actually create something. So in order to actually plant the flowers, you do need to create space and move things around so it can hold space. And then once you plant it there, you got to make sure that the weeds and everything like that doesn't come in and try to eat, if you have bugs, it doesn't eat the flowers, right? Or like the weeds don't take over that root system. You got to make sure that you keep it nice and tidy, right? So that could be another thing here, is sort of like this need to, like, when you create the space for the thing that you want, make sure that you're not necessarily having a lot of things just intrude upon that space, because you want to protect it. It's sacred. It's all about keeping this space sacred. So, for example, say you have a particular hobby that you want to do, or something that you've been working on, make sure that you create time and create a sacred space for it, right? And say, for example, I'm trying to think of something. Say you're painting, right? Say you're a painter. You've been painting for a bit, and now you're finally ready to kind of put your painting out there. Make sure that you create the time and the space for that. Actually maybe find a way to schedule it in every day instead of it being kind of erratic. Make sure that you create that intention around that hobby, around that thing that you're wanting to build, and watch it grow and protect it. Protect it as well. I'm gonna draw a couple more cards. We do have the devil in reverse, so yeah, there's definitely gonna be some. This is really unsolicited fears that may come to the surface, but realize that you don't have to fall for this trap. Do not fall for the trap of these unsolicited fears and people trying to come in and knock you down and tell you that you can't do something. And you don't tell yourself that you can't do something as well. And the bottom of the deck, we do have the Two of Swords. We do have the Two of Swords. So this really like here, I think this is honestly the way I'm reading this is actually a little bit more positive. It's going to be saying like, hey, you're not quite at the level yet as far as like learning that particular move. We're going to get the aha, oh, I can learn flamethrower, I can actually do that. The Two of Swords is saying like, yes, you can, but you're not quite there yet. You still have to level up a little bit. But we only got a few more days until Mercury reaches Uranus. And like I said, Mercury still is in shadow. It's at the degree which it retrograded. So things are definitely going to become more clear. It's like standing in like a doorway, and there's actually like light in one room and it's like dark in another room. And we also have to look at this. The moon is in the card here. So definitely pay attention to your emotions today as it shifts from that Libra energy to that Scorpio energy. So there's definitely could be a potential for some type of stalemate energy, but at the same time, I think this is just going to be the universe asking us and just wanting us to be like, hey, are you sure about this? Is it something that you really want to do, move forward with? Because it's going to require blood, sweat, and tears, probably literally. And you can have the world that you really want, but it is going to require some hard work and some effort. But you can have fun along the way, and you can learn to enjoy building it. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the destination that we don't realize that what's great about the destination is all of the steps that it took to get there. What's great about winning the championship of like any sport, it's like, yeah, it's awesome to hold up the trophy and everything, but the reason why the players are ecstatic and they may have these tears of joy is because they know all of the hard work that it took to get to where they are. And that's what's truly valuable. And that's what's going to do it for today for your astrology forecast from May 31st, 2023. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. My website is almost completed. I will have it done by today. I will have it live tonight or I will have it live going into the first day of June. So definitely look out for that. I'll make some sort of like special announcement when it does too. So anyways, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.